Namaskar, I'm Ashok Vyas, Wide Angle with Ashok Vyas. Today is a very, very special show because we are celebrating Padma Vibhushan for Sri Sri Ravi Shankar ji, who we know as the founder of Art of Living Foundation, but many few of us actually know how Art of Living Foundation is embracing the whole world with the message of peace, joy and love, and how those who have practiced under the guidance of Sri Sri Ravi Shankar ji and who have shared this when they are working in the corporate world as well as getting into their meditative zone, how it makes them feel. I have the distinct pleasure of welcoming Bhushan ji, who is senior faculty with Art of Living Foundation, and joining me via Skype from Washington DC. Am I right? Bhushan ji, welcome.
Namaste, namaste.
How are you, sir?
It's an honor and very, very well. It's an honor to be on the program with you.
Great, great.
Really looking forward.
So, Bhushan ji, let us talk about the recent source of joy in terms of Padma Vibhushan conferred on Sri Sri Ravi Shankar ji. Being a part of the Art of Living Foundation family, how that made you feel?
Definitely, it's a great honor, and as Gurudev has said, it's really this award is not really for a person or a personality, but it's really for the principle of one world family, where the human values are rekindled for our collective happiness, our collective peace. So really this award is not for an individual, but really all the people who work for the same cause. And we are very happy and proud that the country recognize the work done by Gurudev Sri Sri Ravi Shankar ji. So very honored and feel very good about it.
And before we get towards the origin in terms of your association with the Art of Living Foundation and how this idea of becoming an active part of AOL became a part of your being, let's talk a little bit about the news that we are reading. Sri Sri Ravi Shankar ji being considered to be awarded Nobel Peace Prize. Have you heard something? Of course, this news is unconfirmed yet, but maybe some inside source. What have you heard?
So we came to know about this through the media reports. I saw that there are multiple news channels and online papers that covered this news, this speculation. What we understand, I mean, as you know, Nobel Peace Prize Committee keeps all the nominations very secret for 50 years. So they don't really share who had been nominated each year. So we have heard through media, not just this year, but in the past also, we have heard that Gurudev has been nominated for Nobel Peace Prize. And to be honest with you, it is not a surprise that he's been nominated, because he has been involved in instilling peace and bringing communities and nations and religious parties together in a peaceful way to come together to the table for a peaceful dialogue and resolving our problems, our conflicts through the mode of peaceful discussion. So on one level, if these media reports are really true, it doesn't surprise me very much. Just knowing the amount of work that Gurudev has been spreading throughout the world.
Talking about his approach towards resolving conflicts through meditation, the recent controversy regarding entry of women to certain area in the Shani temple at Signapur, Sri Ravi Shankar ji intervened and he said that it should be done amicably. And he is probably
Right.
going, or he has already conducted a meditation session in that area
That is
to
correct.
bring about.
That is correct.
So share with me a little bit about his views on this particular issue and how
Yes.
he is approaching the solution.
Absolutely. I think the biggest, I think the most important thing is for people to come together. There are definitely always conflicts are bound to arise in any society for that matter. But instead of agitating and protesting, if we can come together and discuss the conflict in front of us and figure out an amicable solution, a suitable solution to the challenge, and that has been Gurudev's focus. So he has been advocating this, and what his perspective on this controversy is, or this particular situation, is that either it is done in such a way that both men and women are allowed to enter the inner sanctum, or nobody is. So for example, if we see the different models, so to speak, of such protocol, all right, so in the Kashi model you see that both are allowed, both men and women are allowed to enter into the inner sanctum, whereas in Tirupati model, you see that nobody's allowed. So what Gurudev's message is that either you choose to let both men and women to come in into the inner sanctum, or you don't allow anybody. But having a preferential treatment for one gender over the other, it is something that is not supported by the scriptures, not advocated by the scriptures, and he strongly feels that it should be an equality in this, one way or the other.
Talking about equality and oneness and the ability to organize festivals on such a gigantic proportion that we have seen Sri Ravi Shankarji bringing together heads of the states of many, many countries on the same platform for some festival which was organized earlier at Bangalore. And now, as I speak to you, we look forward to what will happen on 11th, 12th, and 13th March during the World Cultural Festival, which is being held at New Delhi, if I remember it correctly.
That is correct. That is correct. That is correct. So we are celebrating 35 years of service of the Art of Living Foundation of Gurudev Shri Shri Ravi Shankarji, and really the message that Gurudev brings is that we are one world family, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, and we need to walk together as one family, as one unit. Right? There are differences. There are and the diversity in the world is really something that makes the whole experience, the living experience, so much fun, so much enjoyable. I mean, can you imagine there was only one kind of vegetable, right? There were only potatoes, and there was no other vegetable that was available. Or if there was only one flower, right? It would be so boring if there was no diversity in the nature, in the world. Life would be quite boring. So it is really a blessing that we have such a diverse world. There are such a diverse cultures, religions, philosophies, and we need to learn how to celebrate these differences, how to celebrate this diversity. So to that end, on 35th anniversary of the foundation, we are hosting World Culture Festival, where cultures from more than 155 countries will be brought together.
Wow.
People representing 155 countries will be coming together, and we're expecting about 3.5 million people in New Delhi, in east part of New Delhi, to assemble over 3 days and really celebrate diversity, celebrate this message of one world family.
So, to celebrate this message of one world family, one should be relaxed. So, let's talk a little bit about the major areas which takes away our sense of harmony and peace on individual level. And were you aware that this needs to be addressed in an additionally attentive way, which led you towards Art of Living Foundation?
Absolutely. I think individual peace is the cornerstone, or it's really the foundation of global peace. I mean, we cannot, if an individual is not peaceful, how can we talk about societies being peaceful? How can we talk about nations being peaceful? So that is, I think, where the journey starts. at the individual level. And Art of Living has several programs. The Art of Living happiness program, and then there are, once you complete the happiness program, there are meditation programs, silence retreats, a plethora of programs that the foundation offers for different age groups. So for adults, for young people, teenagers, even younger kids, we have programs to help people manage the stress. We think that kids are not stressed, but today, if you see the amount of homework that they have to do, from the very early part of our life, we experience stress. And really, we don't know. Nowhere in school or college we are taught how to handle our negative emotions. So we go on suppressing those, and then once in a while we have an outburst. We get angry, we get frustrated, we get sad, fear. And really, these negative emotions are running our life, ruling our life. So how can we really be in control of our negative emotions and handle them in a healthier way? And that is the effort that the foundation has been carrying out through this workshop that it has. Personally, for my journey, I've been in the United States for the last 21 years. I moved here in 1995, and I went to grad school, and then I took up a job. Got a very successful career. Everything was working just all right, and life seemed perfect, but felt like there was something still missing in my life. And also didn't really realize how to deal with the stress, right? As the material success was coming my way, it was also bringing a lot of stress, work related stress, also stress outside of work, and really didn't have any practical tools. And that's when I really stumbled upon the concept of meditation through a friend, and that intrigued me. I actually, growing up, my grandfather used to run a yoga school in India, in near Kolhapur, and so I had background into yoga. We really didn't have a choice but to do yoga as kids growing up. But then there was a time period in my life where I really didn't engage in yoga much, and had lost track and lost touch with yoga and anything related to yoga, until a friend reintroduced me to the Art of Living course. I took the program, and it made such a profound difference in my life. I could really feel that joy, feel that happiness. uh, again, it's not that it wasn't there at all, but it was almost playing a hide and seek with me, and I could see it more times than what otherwise I was able to. And that's when I decided that actually I wanted to be part of this organization. I wanted to share the joy, the happiness that I feel in my life with few other people. Then there is something that I've accomplished, right? I mean, you can always make money, you can always get a bigger position, but a true satisfaction comes when we share our joy with others and see other people happy. And really, that's what is inspiring me. And Gurudev is really the inspiration, right? I mean, seeing him tirelessly working with a smile on his face, without any stress of any strain of stress in his life. Seeing him doing so much work really is an inspiration for me to contribute, right? I often give the analogy of Krishna lifting the Govardhan Parvat, and letting the villagers, use their sticks, as if creating that impression that you are also supporting the charter. That's how I feel. Really, he's doing all the work, but at least allowing people like me to be part of that journey, and it's very rewarding.
We are thankful, we are sincerely thankful to Bhushan Devdar for sharing part of his enriching journey. And my guest today, joining us from DC via Skype, is senior faculty with the Art of Living Foundation. And in addition to that, he is president of Sumeru Solutions, a software consulting firm, and CEO at Shankara Inc., an all natural anti aging skincare products company. So he has his attention connecting him with various aspects of life, business, as well as spirituality. And many times we feel that these two things cannot go hand in hand. What has been your your experience? Meditation, does it take away your ability to pay attention to the balance sheet or the profit and loss equation in the way which is demanded in this competitive age?
I think it's just totally complementary. They seem like opposite values. They seem like opposite ends of the spectrum, but really they're complementary, right? Unless we have a good night's sleep, we cannot be active during the day. So the quality of our activity and the focus is really determined by the quality of rest we had the night before. So I think meditation, we say that, okay, maybe once I retire, once I don't have anything else to do, I will go and meditate. I'll learn meditation, but I say that when you're busy, that is the time when we need to learn the tools and the techniques to relax the mind. We can keep running, and it's a marathon of life that we're running, but we need some breaks. And meditation really gives you the needed breaks in this marathon of life.
So that break can only come if one allows oneself to avail that break. And while you were talking about happiness program, I was thinking many times people feel that he's talking about happiness as a program, but my happiness is related to getting this desire fulfilled, be it getting married to this particular boy or girl, or having certain amount of money, or the kind of house that I desire to have. So running after possessions and need fulfillment or fulfillment of desires is considered to be the source of happiness. Is that the right way, or there is something else which makes us happy?
See, I think having ambitions and having goals in life is very important, because having goals really gives a direction. So definitely, I would say that having all those objectives, right, whether it be in terms of money or in terms of position, in terms of family, whatnot, I think it's critical, because that gives us a direction to move through life. But however, the real joy, the real source of joy, I find that it really comes from within. Definitely, to go on a trip to an exotic place can bring joy, but many a times this objectives that we set for ourselves, once we reach that objective, we want something else, right? It's a moving post. So sometimes it's like you're making bed all night long but forgetting to sleep. So it's okay to have objectives, but if you are really connecting our happiness to these objectives, then we're missing out on a lot, right? So if we can make our life, instead of pursuit of happiness, an expression of happiness, so being happy and working towards our goal, I think that is a better art of living. And for that, you really have to find happiness through things like meditation, breathing techniques, to let go of the stress, because that is within us and only stress is blocking it.
So, Bhushan, when you say rather than pursuing happiness, expressing happiness, I felt like clapping. That's a that's a
Thank
wonderful
you.
way of putting it. But then it requires that you be happy. So, if I ask
Right.
all the viewers who are with us at the moment, are you happy? I don't know, many of them must have answered yes, they are happy, but some of them are in the quest of happiness. And I see we come across many people, whether they are successful or not successful, there is something which they feel is missing. And as I read that you also are conducting programs on leadership and self mastery to executives as well as students, and the places where you have shared your insight, and this wealth of knowledge involves World Bank, United Nations, Shell Corporation, MIT Sloan School of Business, Harvard Business School, Coca-Cola, and many, many more places. So all these people who are there, they definitely have a little bit higher IQ. That is why they are there. So when you go there and you're telling them something about self mastery, how do they receive it, and what is it that you are offering different to them which they don't get through their classrooms?
Yeah, I think it's very important. Like this whole concept of mindful leadership, right? Like how can you be mindful? How can you make better business decisions? I mean, you are especially top executives in companies or even those who are like, going to business schools, eventually they are going to go into positions of influence, position of responsibility in different companies. And even while they're in school, there is so much of stress, there is so much of competition, there is so much of pressure. How really do you deal with these pressures that life brings to you, whether it's in the context of studying or in the context of working in a company? And how can you maintain a balance of mind and really see all the different factors that are affecting a situation? So we often say that instead of reacting to the situations, we need to respond to the situations, and we need to improve our perception, observation, and expression. Rather than executive, we're making so many decisions, and many times there's so much pressure to make the right decision. And a right decision comes when our mind is calm, when our mind is settled. Because only when the mind is settled and not disturbed, we are able to perceive things in a better way. We can take into account all the different factors that are affecting a situation. And only when we do that, when we observe our mind carefully, then only we can actually make a right decision. So, as a business executive, it is so important. And when we go and teach these workshops in business schools or in corporations, I mean, people receive it; they find it so relevant and so useful. There was a workshop that we conducted at a pharmaceutical company in Chicago, and they found that the collective group who underwent that workshop had a saving. They actually did a research and identified how much time did they save, and they came up with a model where they actually found that over the course of a year they saved 3,000 hours for the company, which is a
Wow.
pretty large amount of time, right? So by attending to our mind, to attending to our negative emotions, we can really have productivity improvement. And that's what resonates so much with corporations who are looking at their top line and bottom line.
So, Bhushani, we probably don't have a lot of time, but whatever time we have, I want you to address the reference of negative emotions. And it is natural to have negative emotions. When you say negative emotions, I look at it as maybe anger, greed, envy, those kind of emotions. Am I correct in understanding the term negative emotion this way? What else? Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
how to deal with that?
Yeah, so I think you said it right. I think anger, fear, anxiety, these are the negative emotions that are controlling our life, right? Many a times we are making decisions based on the fear, based on the anxiety, and often we are making wrong decisions in those moments because we are not able to see things clearly. So how do you deal with this? And for that, our emotions, any emotion for that matter, whether it's positive or negative, is linked with our breath. There's a close link between the two. See, every like when we are angry, the breath pattern changes. The breath pattern becomes shallow and fast, right? When we are tired, when we are sad, we have a long day at work, we come home, we sit on the couch, the sound that we make is ha, and that sound brings some kind of relief to the system. When we are, say, happy, joyful, you smell a rose. How do you smell a rose? With a more attention on inhalation. So every emotion has a corresponding rhythm of the breath, and this is a very important point, right? So instead of trying to control the negative emotions or even our thoughts from the level of our mind, we can actually control them from our breath. So regulating the breath, and that's what you learn in the Sudarshan Kriya, the Sudarshan Kriya breathing technique that we teach in the happiness program. In a very effortless way, how can you regulate your breath to release these negative emotions instead of suppressing them, instead of pushing them down, using these tools of breathing techniques to release that negative emotion from the system. So that's how I would say it's a very practical and useful tool that we should all learn and integrate in our life.
So when Bhushan ji says that to control your thoughts or to take care of your negative emotions, the root lies in regulating your breath. That may not be a new thing, but it is a new thing many times if you have not seen the results by practicing and seeing how these two things are correlated. And just in the last minute or two that we have, Bhushanji, if you can kindly share with us, many times people think they don't have time for meditation or for pranayam or the Sudarshan Kriya. So, a busy person, minimum time that you think is required to be able to take advantage of this, call it Sudarshan Kriya technique, or the way that you are teaching?
Sure, sure. I often hear this that I don't have time. I don't have time to come and learn this technique. I'm so busy. But really, I mean, our mind and time are so synonymous. Even the mind is clouded with all the negative thoughts and negative emotions. And when we're stressed, that's when we feel that there is no time. But when the mind is relaxed, we find so much time to do everything that we need to do. So it's really, it's kind of catch 22. Unless you relax your mind, you won't find the time that you need to do all the things that you need to do. So if it's like, we put money in the bank so that the money grows, right? People won't put money in the bank if it didn't give you interest. So it's like that when you invest a little bit of time, say about 15, 20 minutes, at least I think no matter how busy you are, right, you can definitely make room for about 20 minutes in your day, every day routine. So if you invest that 20 minutes time over a period of time, you will notice that it actually gives you 4 to 5 times more time to do other things. So you invest 20 minutes, you get a couple of hours extra in a day to do everything that you do, because we are more productive, we are more focused when we are doing something. So that's what I've found, and many people that I've taught who practice these techniques come and tell me. So it's an encouraging thought. I would encourage all the listeners to try it out. Try it out for yourself and see how it is. Unless you give it a fair trial, you'll never know.
Wonderful. So the best person to tell you how it works is yourself, and for that you need to invest a little bit of time to gain more time and to increase your efficiency. And once again, my guest today, joining via Skype from DC, Bhushan Devdar, senior faculty with Art of Living Foundation, himself a professional working in the corporate world, as well as sharing the beauty and benefits and brightness of practicing meditation through various programs conducted under the umbrella of Art of Living Foundation with the guidance of Sri Ravi Shankar ji, who once again with Bhushan ji we express our joy and convey our congratulations for him for having been conferred Padma Vibhushan, and now we are reading about the possibility of him being the future recipient of Nobel Peace Prize. Bhushanji, such a pleasure talking to you. Hope to have more sessions of this kind with you, with lots of good wishes.
Thank you so much. It was a great pleasure to be here on this program, and I really enjoyed our conversation. Thank you.
So wonderful. So that is Bhushan Devdarji, and this is Ashok Vyas thanking all of you with lots of good wishes.